Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The DRF race of the day for Saturday, July the 2nd, is one of two graded stakes races at Belmont Park on Saturday. The grade 3 Dwyer is for 3-year-olds going a one-turn mile. $250,000 is the purse. Some of these horses might be aiming for bigger and better pots down the road. Races like the Travers, races like the Pennsylvania Derby. We've got a 4th of July sale going on at DRF.com that you're not going to want to miss. Save up to 50% off select handicapping products. Head on over to shop.drf.com for all the details. Let's take a look at the field for the grade 3 Dwyer, and you can scan the QR code for race of the day access on your mobile devices. Mike, this race marks the return of Florida Derby runner-up Charge It, unseen since finishing unplaced in the Kentucky Derby, but it turns out he had an excuse. Supposedly he displaced his palate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's I guess good to note that he had that excuse. I also thought he had an excuse just based on the trip he had there, Dan. I mean, it seemed like they wanted to go forward with him, and the pace was way too fast. I don't care about his Derby so much. His prior 3 starts were all good. It looked like he looked like a 3-year-old of some serious potential for Pletcher. Dan, we'll see if he can finally start to deliver on it.
He also seemed a bit green in some of his races. In the Florida Derby, was just sort of running in places, running in spots, and he still was good enough to run second. The talent is obviously there. Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector, because our good friends at Timeform US believe that Charge It can get right up close to the pace, and I'm not sure if it's going to play that way. I'm guessing that Chad Brown's maiden winner, the 6 Nabokov, is going to show speed, but if Fluid Situation gets out of the gate this time, Mike, I think he makes the front.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. Fluid Situation. I felt like he had some excuses in his most recent start, Dan. His only win to date, and it's a pretty fast race, is when they sent him to the lead. And he looked really good winning that day. So I would like to see them try to make the front with him here.
Let's talk a little bit about the number 1 Charge It going out for trainer Todd Pletcher. This is a very well-bred son of Tappet. His second lifetime start was a win going a one-turn mile at Gulfstream. He won that race in very fast time. He did so visually impressively. He ran well in the Florida Derby and the Kentucky Derby. Displaced palate, tough trip, maybe too much too soon. I like that Todd's regrouping, turning him back here. This just seems like a nice spot.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that. I mean, he's pretty obvious on paper. I will just say, and I was, as impressed with his maiden win as probably everybody else was. The more you go back and look at that race, boy, did he beat a pretty suspect field in there. I feel like there was nobody behind him. He still looked good winning, and his Florida Derby was good. He backed that race up really well. I mean, I don't know what to say, Dan. He's just the horse to beat in here.
But for all of the buzz surrounding him, he's still eligible for a non-winners of 2 life and does have some things to prove. The number 2 is No Sabe Nada, who has won 3 races in his career. He scratched out of a stakes race at Delaware earlier this week to run in this tougher edition of the Dwyer. This would be a great story because his trainer Scott Peck turned 90 years old last year, and he's still going strong. Let's watch No Sabe Nada win the seasonal debut. This is against older horses on June the 2nd at Delaware. First race off about a 7-month layoff. You can see No Sabe is just a big, strong horse. He doesn't change leads in the stretch. That's him. He does beat an older 7-time winner that would come back to score at Monmouth with an 84 buyer.
Yeah, I mean, he ran well in here. It was certainly a step in the right direction, and I'll just give him credit for showing speed up the inside and taking the race to that 2-5 favorite, Dan, and then just out finishing him at the end. He ran well last time in this spot, and I respect them for sort of scratching out of an easier race to run here. Boy, does he have to run a lot better than that.
Fluid Situation goes out for one of the more underrated trainers on the NYRA circuit, and that's John Terranova. And you mentioned the win 2 starts back at Tampa Bay. Terranova will do that. He'll ship his promising horses down to Tampa Bay, and he usually scores at a pretty high rate. And this horse just blitzed the field going 7/8 of a mile. Makes me think the additional furlong won't be a problem. Let's talk about some of the issues he had in the Gold Fever, because I just don't think the short comment tells the whole story.
Yeah, it doesn't. They didn't really get any of the trouble into it. And listen, I want to just say that I do feel like part of the problem with Fluid Situation in the Gold Fever is he just doesn't seem like a very easy horse to ride. But he got bumped at the start. Then they put him in between. His rider had to take him in hand. He wound up last early. And then even after that, Dan, when he moved back up into position, he just never looked comfortable in behind horses in that race. He eventually made a little bit of a run to the stretch and then got tired at the end. I don't know. I don't want to hold that race against him. I really liked his maiden win. And I also feel like each of his first two starts are way better than they look on paper. I just feel like this horse has a chance to be good, and he has the pedigree on the bottom to get at least this far.
Unbridled Bomber, the number 4. I guess there's a way to make some excuses for his recent races. Wet tracks in his last 2, early move in a race off of a short layoff, 3 starts back. But I'm also getting the feeling that he's kind of already exposed as a stakes, as not really being a stakes horse. He might be more of an allowance runner at this type. Let's watch his most recent race. It was a 1-turn mile at Belmont. It was a muddy track, and he's far, far behind, and he's going to get up for 3rd. And that's his running style. He's going to hope for a fast pace.
Yeah, he is. I don't know if he's going to get it here. It's not a big field, and it doesn't feel like there are a bunch of blazers in here. I'm, and I have no problem saying it, Dan. I'm a big Unbridled Bomber fan. I don't like him at all in this race.
As you see him just sort of staying on one pace towards the end of this 1-turn mile. Again, this race was over a wet track. Running a Son of a Gun. Nice claim from John Toscano. Took this horse for $40,000. Has gotten 2 wins and a stakes placing. Let's watch his 3rd place finish in the aforementioned Gold Fever, where he finished slightly ahead of the more troubled fluid situation. We see Running Son of the Gun angled to the outside. He'll get up for 3rd. The runner-up of this race, Provocateur, would come back to run 3rd in the Woody Stevens, but a very well-beaten 3rd with an 85 buyer.
Yeah, I mean, Running Son of a Gun ran fine in here. I like the ride that Saez gave him a little bit, Dan. I mean, there wasn't, it's not like they were flying in front of him, but I just like that he, waited until the stretch to put him out into the clear, and then he just let him do his thing. He picked up 3rd in there, never looked like he was going to win. I don't really, based on what he's done so far, he doesn't look like a major contender to me, but he is a 3-time winner facing a bunch of horses who are 2 life eligible.
And completing this field is the number 6, Nabokov, who's a very well-bred son of Uncle Mo, going out for trainer Chad Brown. He just missed in his career debut sprinting at Keeneland. He stretched out in his second lifetime start, going 1 mile and a 16th. We're going to watch that race right now. And Nabokov just got to the lead. A first-time starter was pushing him on the backstretch, and there just didn't appear to be any running going on behind Nabokov. He won very easily. Irad just didn't take the whip out until the last 16th or a mile or so. But this is a huge class test for a horse that did run a fast race. I guess you could go several different ways with him. You could say he's going to be an underlay as the second choice in this race, stepping up in class, or you could say, listen, the world's his oyster. He has all the upside potential, and he's not going to be the favorite.
Yeah, and you could be right looking at it both ways, Dan. I mean, I do feel like this horse has a chance to be good. He's got the pedigree. He's run really well in both of his starts so far, and he's already run a relatively fast race. I mean, there's a lot to like about him. He's not going to be much of a price in this race. And more than anything else, off his last win, which obviously he looked really good winning, but he was just so well rated on the lead there. I mean, it was just in a lot of ways a perfect situation and a perfect race for this horse to stretch out for the first time, because he had no trouble making the lead and nobody really pushed him up there. So it remains to be seen, how good he is, but I like what I've seen from him so far.
Before we get to our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. You can access all the latest race of the day and stakes preview videos from DRFTV. Top pick time for the Dwyer. Charge It is the horse to beat. We're going to try to beat him. I like what you said about Nabokov not showing crazy speed. While it did help him stretch out for the first time, I think it could help him here turning back to 1 mile, because there are 3 horses with tactical speed to his inside. I can see this horse working out a stalking trip while in the clear. You're going fluid situation. Again, sneaky race last time, Mike.
Yeah, I don't like the trip that he got last time. I'm happy to give him another chance in here, Dan. I really liked his maiden win 2 back. I don't know. I think Charge It will probably win this race, but I'm happy to try to beat him with fluid situation. It feels like he's going to be a very fair price in here.
3164 for Mike, 6254 for me. It's the grade 3 Dwyer, your DRF race of the day. Best of luck.